Any parents out there? Anybody who played high school, college football? Do you think things like this, albeit rare, should be factored in deciding whether or not a teenager, a young boy, can play the sport? I have a nephew who plays football. He started out as quarterback. Now he's sprouted. He does not have the Maduro. Well, he has the Maduro genes, but he got the height from his mom's side. Tall. He's the tallest Maduro, I think, there ever will be. I don't know. Maybe he'll continue to breed tall Maduros. Really tall. He's about to turn 15 next week. He looks like he could be 17 years old. Okay. And he was quarterback and now he plays linebacker. And every time he comes over, I'm like, you should just stop playing that. Protect the head. He's a smart kid. Smart kid. Very smart kid. My brother's having none of it. He's playing. And it's not as if he's like, my brother didn't play football. But my nephew loves the game. Now he loves watching it with his dad. I'm sure it's a bonding thing. But again, it's a dangerous sport. And of course, there's the money involved. There's the accolades. There's the time, the blood, sweat, and tears. There's the love of the game. I'm conflicted. You guys know I love my San Francisco 49ers. I like watching football. I do. I am very conflicted about this. I tell my nephew, you shouldn't play, but I love watching the game on Sunday and Monday. I mean, I don't even know how to reconcile that. I'm being completely honest with you. I do think that the sport is too violent. I would much rather see big catches, not the big hits, but they all come the same way, right? Is there a way to tweak the game enough where it's still football, still entertaining? But you have to change it earlier. I've had conversations with friends who have younger kids that aren't even old enough to play football yet, but you could tell they're going to be a big kid. Oh yeah, I'm going to put them into football. And I go, why? Put them in some other sport that maybe is not so violent. Oh, they're teaching them now how to do the tackles and all. When the game is on the line, they're going to hit because that's what you do to win. And until that changes, I don't think that really, truly you can change how dangerous football is. Now, then, of course, there is what should the NFL do, right? David Schuster was tweeting about the game. Let me show you some pictures because, again, it's the reaction to everything that's quite telling. So David Schuster wrote, he was with MSNBC. He said, based on a variety of reports, the NFL did not make the decision to suspend the Bengals-Bills game. Rather, players, captains, and coaches from both teams who had witnessed Bills safety Damar Hamlin getting CPR for 8 minutes said they would not continue the game. Now, the NFL has said, I don't know who was saying that we were going to continue the game. I'm sure it was up in the air. They did. I'm going to give everyone the benefit of the doubt. Those players did not want to play. And I don't think they would have physically been able to get their head back in the game, which also is dangerous, right? I mean, you're asking these men to put their brains and bodies on the line and their minds are somewhere else. And you need to be focused. You need to be focused. Now we'll get, I'm sure you've heard by now that the Bengals game is going to be suspended until further notice. This is from the Cincinnati Bengals. The NFL advised that last night's game will not be resumed this week. No decision has been made to reschedule the game as any decision regarding this weekend's schedule. I don't know what the hell you do. I really, really don't. Now, there have been a couple reactions to that. One person said, asking those players on both the Bengals and Bills to practice tomorrow for a game on Sunday with the Ravens and Patriots is bad. Are they even going to be able to do it? A lot of people said, make it a tie. Refund the fans and call it a day. I don't know if they're going to refund. Some people said that they should cancel the entire season. That's not going to happen. One person said they needed to just cancel the rest of the season along with the playoffs. No Super Bowl this year. Pack it up and get ready for off season and a hopeful full recovery for Damar. Some things are bigger than sports. The NFL season should not even matter anymore after last night. And then in response to that, somebody wrote, maybe just cancel football forever and every other sport at every level and getting up in the morning. So obviously someone that does not agree with that take. What do you think should be done? I mean, like seriously, And I know everyone's talking about this today, and I get it. But with football, it's so ingrained, right? It's so ingrained in our American culture. And we raise our boys. I mean, it's boys that play more often. I know there's, been some women that have been able to be kickers and things like that, but largely men play the sport. And they're sacrificing themselves for what? And their career. I mean, take Tom Brady out of it, right? A third of your life, half of your life. What's the second half going to look like if you don't end it early? With the arthritis and the aches and the pains and you can't move and you're hurting all the time. Is it worth it? I don't know how we change this. Nick writes in, football is a dangerous activity and supporting it is grotesque. If you're just now realizing how dangerous it is, you haven't been paying attention and are thus complicit. And I'll take that comment directly at myself. I'm complicit. I am. You guys, I'm not going to sit here and say, I'm not really into football. You guys know I watch it. I do. I don't know how to reconcile the fact that I don't want my nephew playing football with I watch it on Sunday. I really don't. I don't know how to make it clear to the NFL and others that I want to love this sport, but you need to make it safer. Eric says, my son has as much interest in sports as I do, so I'm glad there's no chance he's going to be a football player. Yeah. But if you raise your children in a household that loves sports, can you make it flag football? Can you really make it something like that? I don't think so. Skip Bayless, he was getting vilified. He does the Skip and Shannon Sharp show. And so here we go. This is what started it all. And again, people are just reacting and not probably putting too much thought into it. This is what Skip Bayless wrote. And tell me in the chat if you think what he wrote was insensitive, wrong, he should be canceled, fired. Skip Bayless writes, no doubt the NFL is considering postponing the rest of this game, but how? This late in the season, a game of this magnitude is crucial to the regular season outcome, which suddenly seems so irrelevant. It's that last part, those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words, which suddenly seems so irrelevant that people don't seem to want to include when they criticize Skip Bayless for that comment. So here's Skip Bayless, and I have the sound for you, apologizing because he was crucified over this on social media. So here again was Skip Bayless this morning on his show without Shannon Sharp.
Jen, allow me to say up front that I apologize for what we're going to set out to do here today if it offends anyone, because we're going to try to do the show pretty much as we usually do the show. But I'll admit up front, I'm still shook up by what happened last night to Damar Hamlin. In fact, I'm still wrecked. In fact, I'm not sure I'm capable of doing this show today. But after barely sleeping on it, I decided to give it a try. Maybe I'll fail. Maybe we will fail. But we're going to try. We wrestled through much of the night whether to even do a show today because it felt like in our minds we almost can't win with this, because the last thing we want to try to do is come off as insensitive to what this young man is going through in a life or death situation. The last thing we want to do is offend anyone by trying to do what we always do, which is talk about sports. As this show goes on, we're going to try to talk about a little bit of sports, but we're going to continue to talk about what happened to this young man last night and try to sort back through it with help from you and the audience. And we ask you now, if you'd like to tweet us your emotions of the night and of this morning about what happened to Damar Hamlin, please do so. You can tweet us at @undisputed, and I will be sharing some of your tweets and your emotions as we share our experience of last night through this very difficult morning for all of us. Obviously, my partner Shannon Sharpe is not here today. I look forward to seeing him tomorrow.
No, he's not. So, Shannon Sharpe did not show up today. Now, him and Skip had it out. I can't remember if it was 2 days recently, within the last week. And they got into a pretty big fight. I mean, they could be for ratings. I don't know if that's not why he came, but it might have been also because of Skip's tweet. So apparently Sharpe no-showed. And they're saying it was either as a protest of Bayless or a statement in support of Hamlin, who of course is still in the hospital. One person said Shannon Sharpe not showing up today and letting Skip twist in the wind was a good move. Yeah, they also think that Skip Bayless is kind of milking this and saying what he can for clicks and to get attention. But again, do you think that this is really going to change anything? And let's welcome Kim McAllister to the show. Hi, Kim. So we're talking, of course, we are definitely talking about football and Hamlin's injury. He's obviously still in critical condition, and we are hoping and praying he makes a full recovery. Unclear even if he makes a recovery, if he's ever going to be back on the field. But my question that I'm asking people is, do you think injuries, although what happened, at least according to doctors, what happened to Hamlin was rare. And I was showing earlier before you came on a doctor explaining, the beat of the heart when the collision happened led to this heart attack, this cardiac arrest, where he needed to, be resuscitated. So it's rare. So should this, kind of trump all the other injuries we have ever seen with this sport? Or is this just another example of this game is too violent? And I don't care, what kind of penalties or flags they throw for certain kinds of hits when the game is on the line. Men are going to do. I mean, we talk about these things. And I want to play you because somebody had mentioned this in the comments about the kind of the words that are used, that football players use when they're kind of going in the huddle and trying to make that play. And that, of course, and I'm sure that you guys have seen it from Ryan Clark. Let me see if I can find it for you. Yes. Okay. So he's a former Steelers safety, and it's about 2 minutes, but listen to what he says. I mean, he knows the game. He played the game. He played the same position. Here again is Ryan Clark.
I think the first thing, this is about Damar Hamlin. And it's about a young man at 24 years old that was living his dream, that a few hours ago was getting ready to play the biggest game of his NFL career, and there's probably nowhere else in the world he wanted to be. And now he fights for his life. And when Damar Hamlin falls to the turf, and when you see the medical staff rush to the field and both teams are on the field, you realize this isn't normal. You realize this isn't just football. And so many times in this game, and in our job as well, we use the cliches, I'm ready to die for this. I'm willing to give my life for this. It's time to go to war. And I think sometimes we use those things so much, we forget that part of living this dream is putting your life at risk. And tonight, we got to see a side of football that is extremely ugly, a side of football that no one ever wants to see or never wants to admit exists. When you see both teams on the field crying in that way, your first thought is Damar Hamlin. Yep. The second thought is his family. And this isn't about a football player, right? This is about a human. This is about a brother. This is about a son. This is about a friend. This is about someone who is loved by so many that you have to watch go through this. I dealt with this before, and I watched my teammates for days come to my hospital bed and just cry. I had them call me and tell me that they didn't think I was going to make it, and now this team has to deal with that, and they have no answers. And so the next time I think that we get upset at our favorite fantasy player, or we're upset that the guy on our team doesn't make the play and we're saying he's worthless and we're saying you get to make all this money, we should remember that these men are putting their lives on the line to live their dream. And tonight, Damar Hamlin's dream became a nightmare for not only himself, but his family and his entire team.
Exactly. I mean, it's just so well said. And I mean, when you see these grown men, right? When you see them crying on the field, hugging each other, you have to understand that this is a hard moment to go through. Nobody wants to see this. Nobody wants to see all of the work and effort that you go through as a team and with your teammate, your brother, dying on the field. And so I think that the NFL, obviously, these men were not able to play the game last night. I don't think that they should continue the game. I mean, I highly doubt the NFL won't have a Super Bowl. I really don't. I think it's money. It's just money, and they're going to have to try to make a way to make it work. I think they'll do a tie and leave it at that. That's what I think will happen.
Do you mean just for this specific game, not for the rest of the schedule? Yeah,
right. I mean,
the fact is that anyone in this game could get injured at any moment. Yeah, careers are ruined every time they step on the field. Someone may get hurt, and so. What's to say that tomorrow's game, next weekend's game is not going to be the same thing?
Yeah.
Does that mean we should just cancel the whole ball of wax? Is it barbaric? Is it like the old gladiator sports where someone's going to die, get hurt, something? Is it time to just say, you know what, football, too violent, you're out?
Well, you guys let me know in the chat. I mean, I know how Kim feels because I heard what you said on Mark Thompson's show, of course, that it's a no for you, for your son to play football. It's a no for me either. Now, I know what it is for your son. My son has zero big goose egg interest in playing football. He did play football.
Interest. But my son is a big kid.
Yeah.
So he's 8, but probably looks 11.
Yeah.
He's always the tallest in the class.
And that's my nephew. Yeah.
Solid. And so for him, it's kind of like this natural fit. But that's not going to be what happens at this place in our house. No.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, I was sharing, my nephew looks 17. He's about to turn 15. Yeah. He's a linebacker and he loves it. And every time I said it over the holidays, I'm like, you should just stop playing that sport. You're bashing your head in and you're a smart kid. Like, stop.
Speaking of loving it, let's see what Wes has to say. A lot of high-risk activities people do. If you enjoy something and you die doing it, you died doing something you enjoy. Probably better than catching some disease and lingering.
Yes, it's a common phrase amongst my friends. Go out doing what you love, right? You die doing what you love, getting your head bashed into the ground. I mean, if you're being honest about it, I mean, I know it's a game that people love. And I was saying, Kim, that I feel conflicted because you guys know how much I love watching football. I love watching my Niners, but I don't want my son or my nephew playing the game. I don't. I'm like, nope, that's for somebody else.